There are three big themes in the world of renewable energy at the moment. There's the increase in traditional energy prices, they're seemingly going up and up. There's security of energy supply, the oil and gas are not going to last forever. And there are legally binding targets which the UK government has now signed up to. By 2020, 15% of our energy must come from renewable sources.
What's really changed is the level of subsidies now available have shown that there is real financial benefit to be made from making an investment in the sector.
In the southwest, I think there's tremendous enthusiasm for renewable energy, and people are looking at developing a whole series of schemes. Obviously, the recent experience has been very focused on solar, which has really caught people's imagination.
The government's chosen to incentivise the installation of solar PV because it's a relatively tried and tested technology. It's a relatively quick fix in terms of increasing the amount of renewable energy we're generating at the moment.
But it's important to remember there's a wider perspective as well with wind power, geothermal and all the other technologies which are emerging or are already capable of delivering energy solutions for people.
The feed-in tariff regime came in earlier this year. Of the 16,000 projects that have been registered, 15,000 are solar, and the very vast majority of those projects are small domestic scale projects.
The landowners and householders have many options available in terms of installation of renewables. The one that we're seeing most frequently at the moment is part of what's called the solar gold rush, particularly affecting us in the southwest, and that's around the installation of solar panels either on the ground or on roof spaces.
On larger schemes, generally they'll be located on agricultural land, and an important consideration is the grade of the agricultural land. So if it's grade 1, 2 or 3A, then some additional sustainability explanation will be required before planning permission will be considered. Whereas if it's 3B, 4 or 5 grade land, then that should be able to progress fairly easily. A further consideration, I think, is the visual impact of the photovoltaic array and whether it's going to be seen from anywhere in the locality.
The extent to which the bank or other lender may take into account the future revenues that derive from those panels is currently something that the banks themselves are working through. It's not a well understood market in the UK simply because it's so new, and all the local bankers are, at that sort of scheme you rely on your local bank rather than London, and they're all becoming familiar with the area but haven't yet got a long track record in it.
One of the ways in which the government has chosen to incentivise solar installations, amongst other types of renewables, is by introducing what are called feed-in tariffs. Essentially, they give householders and landowners two benefits. They get paid a fixed amount for generating their own electricity, and they also get paid a variable amount depending on how much electricity they can sell back into the grid.
Householders generally don't need to worry about grid connection because it's simply a case of the electricity being fed directly back into the grid from their houses. If you're using particularly low amounts of energy and it's a particularly bright sunny day, then you might be in the position of actually seeing your electric meter go backwards. Grid connection is obviously very important and is one of the key factors in whether any photovoltaic scheme is going to be viable or not. There are great costs associated with connecting into the grid, and so ideally for an industrial scale array you would want something within about 2 kilometres. That's a substation that you'd need. In addition to a substation being within the 2 kilometres, it's also important to establish whether there's capacity in that substation for taking the additional electricity. Some parts of the southwest are quite overloaded in terms of grid capacity, and so it might be the case that the connection simply isn't viable.
So it does depend quite a lot on the energy yield you get from it. Then the other key variable is whether or not you're going to use the electricity yourself and therefore save buying in electricity at perhaps 10p a unit, whether you're going to export it to the grid at 3 to 4p per unit.
And that's really what we're involved in, is trying to help clients assess the offers they're being given and helping the companies making those offers come up with a really useful integrated product mix that's appealing to the market. Well, some examples of what we're working on at the moment include the Royal Bath and South West Showground, where we're helping them with their large-scale solar PV project. some wind turbine work for some of our commercial clients who are looking to erect those on or near their premises. And for companies like eTricity, we're acting for them on acquiring options over significant numbers of potential projects and setting up the SPVs to deliver those, with the benefit being shared between both companies.
For clients who are thinking about renewables installations, I'd strongly urge them to move as quickly as possible. The current financial climate is very beneficial. The government are not going to keep the incentives at the levels they are at the moment for very long now, so I'd really suggest that clients look at this and take action as soon as possible.